the Courts versus the Wilds Pauper Duel decks. Hey everyone, it's VM Campos Magic Fan. Welcome to another deck tech video. This one is a Pauper Duel deck tech. I've got two decks for you, all with Pauper cards, Pauper legal cards. These are all common cards. So you should be able to make a couple of really fun themed decks. We've got the Courts versus the Wilds, Civilization versus Nature, White-Black versus Green-Red. In this free version of the video, you'll get the full deck tech, how to put it together card by card. But if you go over to my Patreon, you will get the sideboard guide for only $1. That $1 also gets you access to the version of the video where I do an Artisan build. Pauper is only commons, Artisan is commons and uncommons. And for that $1, you also get access to the exclusive version where I include some of the big money rares to make the deck even stronger. All for $1, so head on over to patreon.com/vmcampos. If you can't get in on that at the moment, no worries. Enjoy the free version of the video. Alright everyone, let's start with the Courts. This is the Civilization in Eldraine. We're going with a white and black color pair. There's a strong knight component to this deck, so you'll see a lot of knights. Also, one of the pro tips to making a good deck is to get as many of the same card as you can. If you have 4 of a great card, then that means that you'll be able to get that card more consistently. So let's get started. Okay, so first we've got 4 youthful knights. These are 2 casting cost creatures, human knights, that have first strike. So 2/1 first strike on turn 2, very nice. And this goes with our tribal component of knights. Next up, we've got 4 Smitten Swordmasters, also 2 mana, this time in black. You get another human knight, but this one has an adventure. Sorcery. Curry Favor. You gain X life, and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights you control. So imagine having 3 of these useful knights already on the field, and then you cast Curry Favor, your opponent loses 3 life, you gain 3 life, for only 1 black mana. And if you still can summon it that same turn for 2 more mana, you get a 2/1 life-linking Swordmaster. So this is going to go off on an adventure to go gain you some life. Next, 4 Ardenvale Tacticians. This one's amazing. I love it. I can't believe it's a common. The adventure is Dizzying Swoop, instant, tap up to 2 target creatures. On your opponent's turn, they're about to attack you, no worries, tap them out and you're safe. Or, at the beginning of your combat, tap them out to weaken them and then attack. After they go on the adventure, you get a 2/3 flyer. This is for 3 mana. Next, at the 4 drop, we've got the Ardenvale Paladin. This is a human knight, 2/5 adamant. This is the other new mechanic in Eldraine. If you spend at least 3 white mana, this enters with a +1/+1 counter. So a 3/6 for 4 mana. If you can't adamant her, she's still a 2/5, a big old blocker. Nice. Also, another 4 drop, we have the Lochtwain Paladin, this time in black. Also with adamant, so she can come in as a 4/3, and you also get menace. So even if you can't adamant this creature, you still have a 3/2 menace creature. Very nice. In the spells, we've got Outflank, 4 of them, of course. This is an instant. This is some removal. This deals damage to target attacking or blocking creature equal to the number of creatures you control. So if you've got a few of these even smaller casting cost creatures, you can do an outflank to weaken their big creature and then double block or so. Or if you're attacking and they manage to block with one of their big creatures, they will all join together to outflank your opponent's creature. Some more removal in the form of Trapped in the Tower, 4 of these right here. 2 mana enchantment. Enchant creature without flying. It cannot attack, block, and its activated abilities cannot be activated. So they're totally trapped in the tower, just hanging out there, watching as you trample all over your opponent's battlefield. If you need something a little bit more permanent, we have the Bake into a Pie. 4 of these instants, 4 mana, destroy target creature. The end, instead of exiling them away, you destroy them. Plus, you get some tasty food. That food will help you prolong the game as you have more life to outlast your opponent. Then we've got the Silver Flame Ritual, 4 of these of course. 4 mana sorcery, put +1/+1 counters on each of your creatures. So all of your little creatures can get bigger. But wait a minute, adamant. If you pay at least 3 white mana, they gain vigilance until end of turn. So just really strengthen up your whole squad. Go in for the kill with vigilance because they've all taken the Silver Flame Ritual. Lands are not too complicated. We've got 1, 2, 8 plains, 4 idyllic granges, so that's 12 white sources. This is a plains. It comes into play tapped unless you've already got 3 plains. But when you do bring it in untapped, you can put a +1 counter on one of your creatures. So again, make them better and better. Imagine making that flyer even better just by placing a land on the battlefield. So 4 of those. And then the swamps, 1, 2, 3, 8 swamps, and then 4 Witch's Cottage, which is similar to the Grange. Comes into play tapped unless you've got at least 3 swamps already. This also counts as a swamp later on. And then when it enters the battlefield, you can put a creature card from your graveyard back on top of your library. So you can bring back one of your great creatures, like one of the ones with an adventure, and cast it again. Got the tokens, the food token right here when you bake them into a pie, too bad for them, and then the token when you're on an adventure to remind you that that knight is off doing something cool, and then they'll be back to do something even cooler. So that was the commons only, the pauper version of this deck. Once again, if you'd like the sideboard, the artisan version, and the big money version, head on over to patreon.com/vmcampos. Let's look at the other deck. Alright everyone, let's look at the other deck. Let's look at the wilds. If the deck over here that I just crafted is all about the courts, these are the cards from the wilds. Of course, we're going to have 4 of the Wildwood Tracker. What this deck is all about is non-human creatures, and this card exemplifies that. 1 green mana, Elf Warrior 1/1. Whenever the tracker attacks or blocks, if you control another non-human creature, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This can easily become a 2/2 on turn 2 for 1 mana. And the more non-creatures you have, the better. So if you've got all 4 of them, all of these could be 2/2s. That's a lot of power and toughness. Well, to help you get to that, I've got 4 of the Weaselback Redcap. I love this card for 2 reasons. One is the art. That's some of the funniest art I've ever seen on a Magic card. Look at that goblin on top of that weasel. It's a 1/1 for 1 red mana. Cool. For 2 more mana, it gets +2/+0. So on turn 2, it's a 3/1 attacking. Your opponent probably doesn't have much ready on turn 2 when you're attacking with this. And the more mana you can put onto it, the stronger it gets. Imagine when you've got 4 mana, that's +4/+4. This is a 5/1 for only 1 mana. And the synergy with the tracker is just pretty amazing. Okay, how about we've got some larger creatures later on, but in order to get to those larger creatures, we're going to have the playset 4 of the Rosethorn Acolyte. This is 3 mana for an Elf Druid that gives you a 2/3 mana dork. It taps and gives you mana of any color, so you get some nice ramp. Or if you need to filter your mana, maybe you need some red mana but you've only got green, Seasonal Ritual adds 1 mana of any color. So mana ramp to get to these larger things that we will see, or mana fixing if you need it. Every story needs a big bad wolf, and here we have the Fierce Witch Stalker. This is a 4/4 wolf for 4 mana. Pretty cool. Trample, even better. And when it enters the battlefield, you create a food token. Amazing. So these food tokens will have some synergy later on in the deck, as we will see. And also, the food helps you stay longer in the game because it replenishes you. So a 4/4/4/4 with trample and food. This is a common. That's amazing. Okay, at the top end of the creatures, we have the Tween Veil Treefolk. This is 6 mana to get a 6/5 creature. We've got a little bit of ramp to help get us there. But before that, for 4 mana, you can put 2/+1 counters on a target creature you control. So even your lowly 1/1 creature at a certain point can become a 2/2, or maybe these red caps can be 2/2s and then they get even bigger as you buff them up. And when you've got enough mana, you've got a 6/5 non-human. Another non-human that I like in the deck is the Prophet of the Peak. 6 mana artifact creature cat 5/5. So you don't have to struggle for your mana, you just need 5 mana. You don't have to be red or green. And when it enters the battlefield, scry 2, so you'll get to see what's coming up in the rest of your deck, plus you've got a 5/5 for 6 mana with a little scry. I like that. Here are the non-creature things. I've got a playset, 4 of the Rose Thorn Halberd. This is an artifact equipment for 1 green mana. When it enters the battlefield, automatically attach it to a non-human. Everything that we have here is a non-human. Again, even this lowly red cap is now suddenly on turn 2 a 3/2 creature. And as you put more mana into it, it gets stronger and stronger. After that, the equip cost is a little high, but once you've got your ramp going on, and when you cast more than one of these, it's an automatic permanent 2/1. Very nice. Sometimes we need to deal with our opponents a little bit more directly. Scorching Dragonfire. 2 mana instant. It deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that creature or planeswalker would die, exile it instead. So get rid of some of their pesky creatures, do 3 damage to it, and exile it. Goodbye, Cauldron Familiar. Another way to get rid of your opponent's creatures is to outmuscle them. This is another piece of art that I just love so much. That guy is totally wrestling that bear and winning. Outmuscle. 4 mana, sorcery. Put +1/+1 on your creature, and then it fights another creature you don't control. So you're going to strengthen your creature and have it battle your opponent's creature and probably kill it. You're going to outmuscle them, and that bear is not having a good day. The mana base, okay, pretty straightforward. It's similar to the other deck in this Duel battle box. 1, 2, 3, 8 mountains. So that starts off there, plus then 4 of the Dwarven Mines. If you've got 3 other mountains, this comes untapped, and it creates a 1/1 dwarf, so another non-human creature if you've already got some land. And then the same thing with the forests, 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 forests, and then we've got the gingerbread cabin. And then we've got the gingerbread cabin, so if it comes untapped, it creates a food. So more food to help prolong the game, or just some green mana if you need it. So 4 of those. They're common. We've got the food token. Did you ever notice that the big bad wolf's paw is back there? Little Red Riding Hood didn't stand a chance, and you took her food. And then we've got the adventure token, just to show that your tree folk is off on an adventure. So there you go. That is the free version of the video, the pauper version of things. If you want to see the sideboard, head on over to patreon.com/vmcampos. For $1, you'll get access to the sideboard, plus the Artisan version of this deck. Artisan is a deck that includes commons and uncommons. And for that $1, you'll get access to the big money upgrades for this deck. You get so much for so little, $1 a month. If you don't have that at the moment, no worries. Still go to patreon.com/vmcampos and follow. Follows are free. You'll get alerted to everything that I do on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, etc. Please enjoy this free version of the video, and let me know in the comments below how you liked the video, what you'd improve, what you didn't like about it, or how well you did with this deck. I'd love to hear about it. This has been VM Campos, and I'll see you on Eldraine.